So here I'm now with Poppy. We just decided to have a regular conversation about anything. So first of all, um, who are you?
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Poppy Permatasari, and you can call me Poppy. From Indonesia, recently now in Kalimantan, been vegan for 2 years and a half.
Yeah. So you're from Indonesia or you're from the Philippines?
From Indonesia,
You're
not
from in
Philippines.
Yeah. It says
Yeah,
Philippines on your Facebook, so
yeah, really?
yeah, it
I
does.
don't think so.
It says that you live it says that you live in Indonesia, but yeah,
Indonesia, yeah.
that's
Okay,
right. Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
yeah. That's interesting. So usually I ask the same question every time. So what made you go vegan?
What make me go vegan? At first place, it was a feminism issue that I related to animal. When I just wanna be equal to each other, and I just want the animal become the part of our equality. So it just makes sense. It doesn't make sense at first place, but then it goes like, oh yeah, why should the animal in a low position between us. I mean, among us, and it doesn't seem understandable in the first place. But I found it like really interesting, and it get me to animal right now.
Yeah. So what was like the turning point for you? Like, because you weren't raised vegan, right? So was there like a
Yeah.
time in your life where you felt like, oh, I really need to go vegan now?
I think it just like when the second semester of my university university stuff, and it goes like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Why should I eat meat? I mean like why I treat the non-human animal like like a stuff in my mind. Then it turns me to go vegetarian for 1 week at the at the time. Then yeah, I go vegan from the rest of the week. It was really close to my birthday at the time, so yes, somebody will come and like let's have a chicken for dinner and lunch, meat every day. So yeah, I think the turning point just like my relationship and by watching video by the Gary Yorovsky,
Yeah.
the best speech ever. Yes,
Yeah, that's
it is
the best
like
speech you will ever hear. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. That is exactly the best bits I ever heard, and so amazing. It's
Yeah.
just like yeah, it's true. I mean, like it just like brainwash you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, very interesting thing with Gary Yourofsky is that he's on one hand he reaches a lot of people. On the other hand, he's being heavily criticized. Have you heard about it?
Mm, not really into the news because I think when I heard the speech, he was not really active, or I mean, like
Okay, yeah.
yeah. Maybe you know some of the news. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
really
like,
know.
yeah. The thing is, some people are like either they hate him or they love him, that type of thing.
But he is I mean good activist,
Yeah,
and like
definitely, yeah,
yeah. I mean like it's good, straightforward, and
yeah,
yeah, it's what we need.
yeah. Well, sure. Some people point out that sometimes he isn't like on point with his facts. However, when I've looked at what many things that he's done, and at the speech and such, things were actually scientifically adequate at the time that he said it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so so it's pretty interesting.
It's interesting to I mean to to I mean I don't judge or to label the animal activists or animal rights activists and maybe the influencer. It's just like they have some kind of type. I mean, it's just like their character to show up to public, but not
Yeah,
really no, not really into those type of things. But yeah, he influenced me that much, so it's good thing.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
it's
Gary was one of the main reasons why I went vegan too in the first place. Though Gary speech alone was not like the full story for me. Like, for example, I'm from a family of farmers and hunters.
Mm.
Basically, going vegan in this type of culture, like I knew there would be like some family trouble around it, and it was true. It actually became like that. So how was it like with family and you when you went vegan?
Eh, it was terrible for me because because at the first place I just thought that I didn't eat meat, and not saying the term vegan or vegetarian in the
Yeah,
first place. But it just goes by changing the type, and then they will say like, what about you go vegan at age 30 or 21 or 32 or etc. In the ages that they think that you get old, you have to eat healthy food so you can go vegan instead. You don't need to go vegan at the young age like 20 or 21. You just and they are like pretty sure like will say that vegan will be weak. You just eat those stuff. Especially from Indonesia, you will judge by you just eat the tempeh, tofu, and vegetable orange, just the three type things, and it made me sick to hear that kind of things because people just will ask you the typical question, where do you get your protein, and etc. It sucks. Um,
no matter where on earth you are, the protein question will come up.
yeah, and it sucks when it's come to tradition in my family. So quite happy on the Chinese Indonesian culture. When it comes to birthday, you have to eat eggs. You have to eat eggs, and every sister, brother, or your family around, you have to eat the eggs to show your respect, to show your culture and tradition. So when it comes to, for example, my dad's birthday at the time, I was forced to eat the egg because it is a sign to show the respect.
Uh,
But I mean, they they don't see they don't see that I don't eat those stuff because it is not food for me. But see it as a respect, as a tradition that I should admit it for myself and for them. So yeah, it's really hard to talk about that issue when it comes to tradition and culture in my family. Especially when you're Chinese, you just eat pork and rice, everything with meat,
yeah,
heavy baths. Yeah, it's and for maybe for friends, it might be get a little easier because you can understand from the same perspective, or yeah, as a kid from our parents. And I could explain to my friends. Some of my friends accept it, but some of my friends just like they will think us like annoying person that doesn't eat any type of food. So yeah, people need time to explain veganism things here right now. And I think, yeah, the biggest point is the egg and the egg. Yeah, but
yeah,
for us Asian, it's not really heavy on cheese, and milk, so it's not a big problem for us. We don't get really addicted to cheese, but yeah. But from the Western influence, so yeah, we got cheese, but we're not really into it.
yeah.
I mean, it might be different type of cheese, and so yeah, we just consume it regular base,
Yeah,
not like.
I remember as a really young child, I just couldn't stand cheese.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you can't stand it.
no,
It's
but I became a cheese addict after some years, anyways.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh. I think that's because it's become a habit. Is
yeah,
it?
yeah, definitely. Like I remember, I couldn't stand pizza. I just couldn't stand like even like raw cheese. But I remember even melted cheese
Oh.
was I found to be awful. But the years went by, and then I started to have like 5 different types of meat on my pizza, and then uh, different types of cheese as well on the pizza. So it's totally bizarre to look back on now. Though I can relate to like the cheese thing.
His cheese
Although
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I could really relate when I see some of my Western friends like put cheese in all the meal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can really imagine that it was a really happy stuff. It's just like maybe egg for us, so we could. I think egg is typical thing when you can eat egg for breakfast, you can eat lunch for breakfast, you can eat egg for dinner. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, yeah.
Yeah, egg might be a huge issue. So it's very strange because
Mhm.
when you like bring up like especially Chinese culture, because uh, I just find it bizarre in a sense because the amount of culture around Buddhism
Mhm.
and vegetarian diets is actually huge.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's quite
so
huge.
yeah, so it's just so bizarre to see that that becomes like a problem in those like cultures.
Yeah, it becomes strange because we are influenced like other cultures that when you eat some type of food, like for Indonesia, it's just like rendang when it comes to it. It's just like beef stew. You just it's just really happy in Indonesia, but it's not Chinese culture. It's come from Sumatra, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
just really happy. But the thing is, from for Indonesia, it's just like you will you will get no to vegan that doesn't consume onion or garlic, or we call it
Oh yeah.
vegan Buddhism. Yeah, vegan spiritual vegan or religious vegan. So
Yeah.
it is a brand new thing. I mean, if you don't really notice in Indonesia.
Yeah, I know. I
Hmm.
was taught like I searched up like traditional ways to say vegan in Japanese, and when I
Hmm.
tried to ask people about those words, it's like, oh yeah, but those people they don't eat garlic. So
Yeah. So you will be mistaken for not eating garlic and not eating onion at the same time because you're vegan.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the term vegan known in Indonesia, or is it something that people actually don't know about?
It is. Some people might know it, but not really in an ethical way. They just know
Oh
you're
yeah.
not consuming. They just know you're not consuming the meat, and sometimes they don't know about the cheese thing because for just it's just a meat. Maybe and it's quite hard to difference the vegetarian and vegan here in Indonesia. Some people might don't know it and seems it's like strange for them because you don't really consume anything for them. I
Yeah.
mean, like yeah, yeah. And yeah, and when you say you're vegan, they will assume you to not eating onion or garlic. If you are in a place like have you earned Buddhism or have you earned Buddhism spirituality or religion based, or you follow some kind of spiritual spiritual way, and yeah, you can
Yeah.
find them not maybe eating vegan but no garlic, no onion, and yeah, some argument about that is always going on and repeated over and over again.
True. True.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Interesting, because when I talked to Sorab for a couple of days ago,
Mm-hmm.
I asked about a few things that it might be very difficult because he wanted to like talk about more like spiritual topics and such, and I just found it easier to reach Muslims than it was to reach Christians when it comes to veganism. Uh, so you living in a culture where there was like a mixture of religions and such. Do you have
Uh-huh.
any like type of experience with the difficult level of reaching different type of people from different religions?
Okay, so for me, from the previous like vegan outreach at the beach, we are luckily can help some. I mean, vegan beach outreach in the beach in Bali. Then it comes to they will pig like from, let's say, from the eastern of Indonesia, they will say like it's part of culture when you slaughter pigs, and pig is going to be slaughtered no matter what because they are the type of animal that we used to eat. Okay, then when it comes to, I say, Muslim, it's quite hard because they have like um they have like they say it's a prayer before they slaughter the
Yeah,
animals.
yeah, yeah, they
So
talk
it
about
just
yeah.
like, yeah, so it is just like you do good things, you pray for them so they die. It's okay. I mean it's a simple way to say that. But when it's always say like that, it's always like, okay, we pray for them. We have the Bible saying that we are not wrong doing that. So it's just so we will debate over the tradition and over the Muslim, the prayer thing before the slaughter from maybe
Yeah,
for the cow and the things.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
halal slaughter is the name for it.
Yeah, halal slaughter or
Yeah,
yeah, prayer slaughter. So they will like pray for them, and yeah, it's okay for them to just kill them. And for the Chinese, for the Chinese, in my point of view, it's just like people will go through all the same with the tradition and with the family, which they think they can't consume like their traditional type of meal, where it is really heavy on the meat, on the pork, on the sausage, pork sausage, and all the stuff.
yeah. And interesting because
Hmm.
when I talk to a lot of Muslims over the time, it's actually I feel it's easier to reach out to people who are Muslims than people who are Christians. Because when I talk to Christians, they're more like, oh, but I choose to believe this, and that's like the end of the conversation. But with Muslims, I actually bring up like surahs and such, and I say, hey, listen, it says that every child is born a Muslim. Can you give a child a knife and have them kill some kind of animal? And now they can't. So that's usually it for them. So either they like get weeded out and just don't want to talk about it, or they actually tend to go vegan.
And to go, yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. Sometimes you can find a type of the Muslim that goes really well with the thought, and sometimes it's just really hard for me.
yeah.
But
Sometimes it's yeah,
sometimes it sucks, and I mean like the conversation just go around with the topics, and yeah,
yeah,
we can't give them the educate them to go vegan.
yeah,
Basically, for me, personally, it's just easier for me to speak to people that not tend to bring the religious issue. I I prefer to talk about the tradition, but not
yeah,
religion. Or
yeah,
when you bring the Bible thing, or when you bring the God say it, it
yeah,
sucks for me. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Because you're not like so well literal in
Yeah,
religion.
in
I guess yeah.
the.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you only got like some really weird people like me who really dove really deep into religion and such. So I actually use a lot of religious arguments.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's just really fun.
Okay.
I read through the entire Quran. I read through the Bible. I've read half the Gita. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I've even read the Book of Mormon. So it's like
Oh, so you're popular with this topic.
yeah, well, I've always been like interested in religion, so it's really fun
Oh.
when I get into like conversation with like religious people, because I actually
Mhm.
know their scriptures quite well, and they get really shocked to like so
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
You can use it as a tool, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm not so well written within Hinduism as no no Buddhism as well as I would want to. That is like a huge issue that I just don't know too much about. Like I know some things here and there, of course, but
Mhm.
I'm not too like wandered within it. Um, for some
I
reason,
see.
the few people have been like openly Buddhist towards me, and I have been to like those outreached. outreach. They've been extremely ignorant, especially when I try to talk to them.
Yeah, quite. I could say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Agree.
it's weird because Buddhist monks, they basically have to live vegan, and yet when I meet other Buddhists, they are so ignorant towards it. It's I
Yeah,
just don't get it. Do you have like any
yeah.
input on this? Because it's a bizarre to me.
I I think it's quite tragic when you see the Buddhism. It's happy that don't kill each other. You have the Bible saying that, the Buddhist Bible saying that. But I mean, there are. I think, in my point of view, when you are just paying attention to what the religion says, what the religion or the Bible say, and you just practice the thing that you think it is matter, but it's actually have the other thing that matters. But I think because of that, so the people might think it's not important as long as I not kill it. It's just like the logical term. So yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks when we talk to the Buddhist monk or any type of them. But some of them could be open-minded. But I think it's just like the close-minded type of people that I don't want to be bothered with veganism. I don't want to. Yeah,
yeah, so,
it's
yeah,
strange, but it is.
yeah. So yeah, that kind of spills like the suspicion that I've had because I haven't had the opportunity to have too much outreach to people who really subscribe to Buddhism. But yeah, I
Hmm.
just felt them really ignorant, and it just made no sense whatsoever. It's but it might
Yeah,
be a cultural thing as well, though.
it's very
Uh,
cultural thing as
yeah,
well.
as you
So
brought up, yeah.
I think they tend to be like more like concerned about what is inside about them, so they don't really pay attention to the our point of view, or maybe a type of close-minded people that I don't give a shit about this stuff. So yeah, I don't. I think because when it's come to some Buddhist vegetarians that tend to focus on more on garlic and onion issue rather than the eggs, the animals, and the middle things. They tend to, yeah, ignorant. So as long as I go vegetarian for 20 years, 21 years or more, they feel good about it. So they won't listen to any vegan or red. So because they tend to think it is enough for me to just being vegetarian is enough for, because my religious said this thing is okay. So it is better not to consume onion or garlic, but rather than consume eggs or milk.
Oh wow,
Yeah, maybe it sounds like it's tragic. I
it's
mean,
bizarre, even.
yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah, I even like it is really hard for me to reach to vegetarian Buddhism. I I prefer like outreach and more engaging when it's come to like vegetarian, like regular vegetarian that consume onion and black and not religious based. So yeah,
Yeah. So
I
this
think.
is interesting that you bring up like the culture puts things a little bit out of on like a different tangent
Hmm.
of difficult positions. The best example I have of this is that I tried to reach out to a girl. She's of the. Have you heard of the Sami people?
What people are
No,
there?
the Sami people. They are in indigenous group in northern Europe. Uh,
No
they,
idea
they
about that.
no, they have a strong culture within reindeer herding. Are you familiar with this?
Maybe.
No,
No, tell me more.
they own their own reindeer, but their reindeers are like semi-free. They run around in the open landscape and just eat grass wherever. And then they herd them together and they mark them and then they bring them out again. Some of the reindeers might be used to drag a sledge or something like that, so it's easy to travel over the snow and such. Um, and This indigenous group has now gotten a lot of um, help from uh, the other nations where they live, which is basically Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Well, not Russia, but like the other countries has given them. So
Yeah,
yeah, um, and I talked to one of these, and she did not want to. Well, this girl that I talked to, she did not want to bring up the ethical topics of veganism, no matter what I tried, because I tried to find somebody who would translate the name the trait argument. Have you heard of the name the trait argument?
no idea.
No,
I think.
I'll come back to that later then. No,
Uh,
but the thing is, I tried to reach out to her, but she didn't want to help me. And I asked some other Sami people afterward what is all about this, and it got to do with the culture. As soon as you're trying to say that you are against reindeer herding, you're feeling like you can easily be doxxed out of the entire community of the Sami people.
oh gosh.
So yeah, it's
It's
yeah,
yeah. I could feel it. I could feel it because when like the things go with culture and they are thinking you are like I don't know how to say that, but we are just like against their culture, that right? You against the culture and just like you are that person for them.
yeah.
So yeah, it's so it won't open the get the conversation get to speak out with them like yeah I know it yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, back in the days, I made a video about the reindeer herding and why I don't like it. In the beginning, I only got like positive feedback from Sami people that said, "Yeah, you're completely right," and such and such. Then I didn't hear for it for a long time, and all of a sudden, somebody had shared this video somewhere, and then I was labeled a racist.
Oh
It's
damn.
it's weird. It's absolutely
It's
weird.
weird yeah. It, I think it's almost the same issue with Indonesia. So you can be it's very very it's very very like what I say it's it's very weird when you talk about the Bible and I don't know you miss a you make a misconception or whatever whatsoever, and then you can be labeled as a racism, or
Yeah.
people can just like go and yes these guys make some issue with our Bible and just call the cops. It just happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it just sucks. So I don't really like to talk about the religious base.
Oh yeah, I got you, got you,
Yeah.
got you.
hmm
It's
So yeah, when it comes to that, yeah, it's better to talk about other things for me.
yeah, better, yeah. It's interesting because people tend to come with this ridiculous excuses to just avoid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I also told you that I would tell you what the name the trait argument is. Peter Singer, have you heard about him?
Peter Singer.
No, he
Oh, Peter Singer. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he had his
yeah.
version of the name the trait that he called marginal cases, but it's like very difficult put together. Isaac Brown, or Ask Yourself, he has a YouTube channel. He talks
Mm-hmm.
about philosophy and veganism, and he has put together what he called the name the trait argument, which basically asks, what is it that's true of an animal that, if it were to be true of a human, would justify stabbing them to death for a hamburger? So so basically what people usually bring up is that, oh, we're more intelligent. Well, if we have people who aren't more intelligent than a cow, can you then kill them? If they say no, okay, that leads to a contradiction. If people say it's not having language, they go to, oh, but then it's okay to kill people who are mute because they can't talk. So basically, no matter what they say, you just put it into a human context, even if it's something that it's impossible, well, not impossible, but like if it's bizarre or really
Mm-hmm.
difficult to believe. So people try to bring it up like, oh, but the truth of the matter is that we are on the top of the food chain. well, if aliens came down to Earth and they wanted to do the same thing to us, so so yeah, it's just a really good argument that people could
It's
use.
really good. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good to use when we do the outreach.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
especially in
yeah.
outreach, is very effective. If you talk to farmers, it
Mm-hmm.
might not be as effective. Some people might be
Mm,
very stubborn towards this. Um,
yeah, because it's economic reason, money, profit.
yeah, especially when you brought up like the Chinese culture and such, because I've talked to what is Admin Chang or something? I don't. It's a friend of mine on Facebook. He recently changed his name on Facebook, so I don't really remember what his name. I think it was Edmund Chang.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he tried helping me with translating the name the trait argument into Mandarin. He struggled so hard, and he said like, "Oh, because of the culture, this is very difficult to translate." It was like, yeah. So yeah, I think I know what you mean now, but I'm not sure how to translate it.
In my word, yeah,
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 so the first time when I sent us this, sent him this argument, like, what is it that's true of an animal that if true of a human would justify killing them for hamburgers? The translation, because I put it through Google Translate to make sure that he got it correctly, and it was translated something like, "What is it that is true of an animal that makes it okay for humans to kill them?" That wasn't the question though.
yeah.
And the thing is,
Yeah, yeah,
a Kenyan girl she helped me with translating it to Swahili. Uh, the first attempt she had of translating it, it became something of the similar type of.
yeah. Yeah, and for the translation, like from like the statement that you said before, it could be it could be different in our language too. So
Yeah.
I understand when it comes to like stabbing the throat, we don't have the word to stab in the throat.
No, no,
We
no.
just
But basically,
yeah,
no. It's and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I use the version of it that is very easy to translate.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
It
never
is.
easy to translate because it's very philosophical. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more like, what is it that's true of an animal that if true of a human would make it okay to kill them for hamburgers? That's basically how I
Exactly.
phrase it. Yeah, would
Yeah,
you be willing
exactly.
to translate it for me in Indonesian
Yeah,
after
yeah.
this? Yeah, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I'm
100%,
trying
yes,
to
sure.
gather as many translation of it as possible.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
So the last time we are we were doing the translation for the monkey issue that monkey issue in Thailand
yeah.
when yeah, when the
The coconut thing.
exploitation, yeah, the
Yeah,
coconut thing, yeah, when the exploitation monkey to pick up the coconut. It sucks because when in English you can have like the short straightforward, but what in Indonesia you can't because
yeah.
it is you have the interconnection connection the
Just a
word.
second.
Just
This is something I need to make sure that the listeners know what it's all about, because I've seen a lot of people don't know about this.
mhm.
There are places in Southeast Asia where they use monkeys to pick coconuts for them. So they're chained up. They climb the trees. They pick the coconuts and toss them on the floor. Basically, it's
Yeah.
basically a slave labor for monkeys. Basically. So yeah, just continue.
Yeah, so it's very interesting as you know because we don't want to drink from the coconut from the slave labor coconut, but I don't think specifically it happened in Indonesia, but it does in Thailand. And for me, when we do the translation, it sucks because we have to connect this word with this word, and we don't have the type of word exploitation in Indonesia. It will be exploitasi, and it tend to connect with manufactory or big production. It never always been the animals or the human. So the exploitation word is rarely used for humans or non-human animals.
Yeah, okay, got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult when there's words that don't line up. I've seen that in some cultures. So like um, I've tried many times to. By the way, I speak Japanese, so. Uh, so
Awesome.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to try to say to use the word life because you would use a different word for life when you talk about animals and not non-human like non-human animals, and when you talk about humans. Basically, the most common word for life in Japanese would be jinsei, but that's basically human life. So, but there is a common word for life, so that's basically the go-to. Uh,
Oh, I
yeah, so I
see.
basically see what I mean when you say that it's very difficult to use the language properly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, from the culture perspective, and I mean, like it is the word that really used and often used by the human and non-human animals. I think it just like become categorized as different different structure over the year because people tend to use it for this and we use it for that, and
Yeah,
it's quite different. Yeah.
Norwegian doesn't have a word for sentience, by the way. So,
Yeah, it's same here.
oh, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So,
So it's so hard to, yeah, do the translation.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, the whenever I am to translate sentience, I basically use the two words of being sensing and feeling.
All right, makes
They are
sense.
sensing
Yeah,
and
yeah,
feeling
yeah.
animals is basically what I'm
Something.
saying because the word of sentience doesn't exist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Sure, sure, sure.
So it's
Agree, agree.
basically just using two words to describe it instead of one. Sometimes you can get around it that way.
Yeah, it make it long, straightforward, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
In the past, I used the word of conscience instead, but it had its issues.
So, yeah, it got a lot of issue when it comes to translating. For example, I could say, okay, we don't have the word like non-human animals and human animals. We just say humans, animals, animals. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we tend to use it like for human, yes, it's human, manusia, and when it comes to non-human animals, we just say binatang or hewan. We can't make the connection like what English word like we cannot separate the non-human animals and human animals. That
You do
what
have a word for
make we
mammal, don't you?
thinking mammals. Yes, but mammals tend to use for I mean human.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
So
it's
no, no, no.
really
Sorry.
yeah.
But mammals tend to use for animals. So when you can say you are mammals, it's weird for you. So you were like, oh
It
gosh,
really be yeah,
really?
because
Yeah,
you have people who will make the claim no matter where you are that humans are not
true.
animals, though
Yeah,
anatomically we are.
they're animals.
So you can actually say that to people even if there are cultural differences to will stop you from using it. So
Yeah,
um, uh, I remember this boy. He told me to not say killing animals. You have to say slaughter. And
so
then yeah,
okay.
so then I used then I changed up. I didn't say murder or kill. I said slaughter, even if I was talking about animals or humans. So I just changed up the word.
So you're saying that slaughter for every animals and
Well, it's
humans?
basically what I did then. He didn't
All
want me
right.
to say that that we were slaughtering slaughter. No, he didn't want me. He didn't want me to say that we were killing animals because they were slaughtered. Okay, then I'm
All
going to
right.
use the word for slaughter for
Yes.
humans, and we'll see if that sounds any nicer.
I see the point though.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
so,
think the language barrier or the language issue is one of the interesting topics that we could talk. We
yeah.
could always talk,
No matter what language that I've
no
been
matter what
through,
language.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have the same issue. people tried to make a huge separation. Also, they made a huge distinction in North America when it came to the black slave trade.
Oh God,
Yeah, so,
it
so
is
they
new.
had the same issue back then, even. To say that they're human, no, they're merely human. Like, what are you talking about? So, so
So
yeah,
yeah,
so this is not the first time where language has been an issue.
yeah.
They had it back in the United States when they were still having the slave trade.
So it is an issue there when you talk about the black self, and yeah, and I think the last issue was the Holocaust thing.
Yeah, the Holocaust.
Yeah,
Using the Holocaust, yeah.
yeah, the
The
Holocaust.
thing is, many people get offended by using the analysis of the Holocaust. Though, if one goes into a dictionary and looking up Holocaust, like not regular dictionary, but like urban dictionary, where you can look up like origin of the word and such, it was basically talking about animal offering or the burning of animals. That was the
I
original
think
word of Holocaust. So whenever people are using a Holocaust as a word, it is correct with today's
what
um,
happening is
yeah, yeah,
in what's happening to the
yeah. The
animals. Yeah.
definition of a Holocaust, it fits today's definition. But if you go to the original definition, it's even closer to what you can call the Nazi Holocaust. Did something toss something at you or
Uh,
something?
it is my brother tossed the
Okay, okay,
jacket.
okay. Gotcha. I was like something.
You shocked. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it is like the when the Holocaust issue things is like coming up. It's my first time. It is my like second time heard that after the history class going on. Yeah.
Mm.
Like it's connected to the World War II. And yeah, maybe people tend to not feel good about the word.
I spoke to
Yeah, it's
vegans.
become boom.
Yeah, I spoke to vegans when I were in Israel, and it didn't seem like people have had a problem with the term Holocaust used in animal context.
I
Some
see.
non-vegans might, but I mean,
Oh,
but I talked to Jews who have no problem with the
not
use of
really
the
that.
word, like the word
Oh,
Holocaust,
I think
in the context.
it
It's
depends on the person.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think, oh, that's so sensitive and such.
This is so sensitive. That's so whatsoever.
Oh wow. Oh, it's just bizarre. Bizarre have like language. It becomes like a barrier. Um,
Yeah, it's become barrier when you talk about veganism issue. When especially when it was all about the animals.
yeah, exactly.
We are not kill the animals. We don't kill the animal.
We slaughter them.
We slaughter them.
so
It is a
so one thing that I've
slaughterhouse.
like we've almost exhausted this topic, but one thing that I came to think of is sometimes when they say it's not the same because it's a human and it is the animal, and I try to ask them, what is the physiological and neurological difference between putting a knife through an animal's throat and putting a knife through a human's throat? What is the neurological or physiological difference that is happening in the being? They can't answer.
Because it is basically the same.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
The
basically the
processes are
same.
basically the same. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that all animals are the same though. I know that many people put humans and animals on like equal footing. I don't really have any problem with that, though
Hmm.
personally I can see that there are numerous differences between animals. Um, Especially, we wouldn't give a cow the right to vote because they lack the
Mm.
ability of understanding politics or conceptualizing it more so.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, in the same way, we don't force people who are severely mentally disabled to go to vote. Like they have the right, but I wouldn't say that they need the right more than that. There are some legal issues by not giving them the rights. Uh, but like, what is the trait that basically makes it okay to kill animals? Like, as far as I can see, that we're both sentient beings to have a will to live and can experience suffering and well-being. Um, I don't see anything that they lack that would take away their rights, basically. Um,
Yes, I agree with that because yeah, it's basically. I mean, yes, we are not like in the same page with animals and non-human animals, but we. I don't see the point of like killing them. They still they still feel it was we feel. They see as what we see, and I mean, we all just the same, but yes, we don't have the same right, the same thing
Yeah,
to
well,
do because
some
yeah,
people, yeah, well, some people will bring up like cognitive ability or the self awareness topics and such, and and I just gonna ask them why is that important? It's like we have people who also lack those abilities, but we don't kill them, so it makes absolutely no sense. But I'm not sure because in Italy they basically had these respirators that they had older people on because they needed them to breathe. Then the COVID-19 hit very hard in Italy, and then young people started having problem to breathe, and they didn't have enough respirators available, so they put the older people off the respirators and put them on the younger populations. Um,
oh,
yeah, it's a very bad situation. Though I don't personally, I don't see that they could have done anything better than that. Or what is your take on it?
yeah, I think maybe it just I really have no since the COVID-19 I don't really put my attention to the what's happening into the world. So yeah,
Okay, okay, I see.
yeah. So yeah, it really
No,
like
no, it's
because
more like
at the
it
first
yeah, it's more like a
it's more.
moral question than anything. Because um, like if you were in the situation where you have an old sick person, he's in his
Yeah,
80s, he doesn't have a long life in front of him, and then this 15-year-old come in, he got asthma and he has a problem breathing, there is only one respirator there, what do you do in that
yeah.
situation? Then most
I think
people would put that old person off the respirator and put it on that 15-year-old, because you know that there is more to save.
there's more to say. I think it's better to see the urgency or the priority here because
Yeah,
you can't make all the same stuff. Or I could say both the teenagers or the all older people will. I mean, like the elderly people won't go like. I want that. I mean, like they will
yeah,
like
sure. Like
stay
if you had two
stay still.
respirators, if you had two
Hmm.
respirators, of course you would put them on them. But like
Yeah,
the point is, we don't put humans on equal footing either. It's yeah, it was really blank.
I think so. Yeah.
So the thing is, so me personally, I wouldn't put, let's say, a cow on the same footing as a person. Though I wouldn't put a pig on the same footing as a cow either, because I know that there are differences between them. But I don't see any meaningful reason to exploit and kill for that matter. Like we have situations where you have to do terrible things. That's what I mentioned about Italy when they have to like reevaluate who should have the respirator or not. Though when you're not in that situation, then I don't see any reason to actually make a choice of like who should live or who should die. Really.
Yeah, I think people tend to make comparison which life is just like more valuable than each other. That it's come to, it's a hard choice, you know, when
It
it's
is.
come. Yeah, a hard choice when you it's come to if there is a dog that sing in the river and the human, where will you help then? I think people tend to make the comparison with which life is better, which life is more valuable to you that you wanna help one of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Really
think
good point. So
yeah.
yeah, so if you have two strangers, one is a human and the other one is a dog, one is drowning, like who do you save first?
Hmm.
Well, personally, I would just save the one that is the closest to me, but like let's say they're both just as far away. Well, yeah, I bet I'd save the human because there's more well-being to be saved. Though in the situation that we are in now, that is not the situation. Here it is about killing an animal and not saving a person.
Exactly. It
So
is like,
so
yeah.
so people trying to use this up, but it's like, so they go, aha, so you do believe humans are more important. And it's like, I've never said that humans aren't more important and I'm still vegan. How come?
Yeah. They will. If, I mean, if we get stuck on answering this question, they will like, aha, I got you.
Yeah, they will. And then I say, well, I
Yeah.
agree with you and I'm still vegan. How come? And then they get really weirded out.
Mm. Yeah, I think it is what I think I think it's related to the logical fallacy type
Yeah,
of
yeah, true.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
logical fallacies, exactly.
Yeah. True. I, I did remember like the last time I did the translation for the Sap Alex ebooks, the
Yeah.
logical fallacy about veganisms, and yeah, some of it is some of the time that will always come out into the vegan outrage.
Yeah. I'm
Mm-hmm.
often, when confronting farmers and such, um, especially hunters, more sort of hunters. There's a huge issue in Norway where a lot of people hate wolves. They absolutely hate wolves. They make this huge argument that they're dangerous to people, although that's nonsense. And the other thing is that they're killing sheep. Though the amount of sheep that I take each year is small compared to the total amount of sheep that die outside each year. But I've just come to the conclusion that it's not really about the sheep or the people, it's about the moose hunting. You're familiar with moose, right?
Moose, yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so people want an excuse to hunt more moose, and if there's more wolves, then the quota for mooses being hunted is lower, and also for people who want to sell their ground for hunters. There's okay, it's fine. um,
Sorry.
yeah. Where was I going with this?
Moose?
Yeah, it was moose hunting, killing wolves, sheep. Where was I?
Oh god, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll get there. Yeah, they make this excuse for yeah. Uh, so the people who own the ground, they want to sell the most amount of hunting licenses. If there is more wolves around, they need to lower the amount of people who can have hunting licenses, and it's almost religious here. The moose hunting is almost all that those people do. It's bizarre.
So it's just like you got the license and you can hunt the moose?
Yeah, well, then you can hunt the moose. You need a license for killing the. Yeah,
Oh, so
it's a sport here. A moose hunting is a
it's
sport.
oh, I see.
Yeah,
It's I mean I mean Indonesia Indonesia got no like license for hunting because we could see hunting as a sport, but it never categorized as a sport that have to have a license or anything special about that.
it's almost identical to fishing licenses.
Okay, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that in Indonesia there's mostly like government appointed people who hunt. So yeah, it's a very
Mm-hmm.
different thing. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so where the heck was I going with this? I just don't remember.
You're just going around and around.
Yeah, there was something that I needed to bring up with like the wolf hate and such. Um, but I don't remember. Yeah, exactly. When I argue with these people, then sometimes they bring up, oh, but it's our tradition. Oh, we've always been doing this, and it's in our nature to do so. And then I'm pointing out that they're coming with appeal to tradition fallacies and appeal to nature fallacies. They get extremely weirded out about when I bring up those fallacies, and they go almost insane. You have no idea.
What was it?
No,
What,
basically
what,
when
what,
no, basically
yes?
when they say that, oh, this is natural to do. Well, now you come in with an appeal to nature fallacy. Well, there are many things in nature that are bad. Well, I assume you'd agree it's bad. I mean, like, animals are raping each other. Should you be doing that because it's natural? I mean, so, and then they go, oh, but you can't compare killing animals to rape. And it's like, no, I was explaining what a fallacy was. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, when they say like you can't compare the rap to the rapping issue with the humans, then yeah, I mean like it's understandable that they got the fallacy, but they won't admit it.
yeah, exactly. Even if I go through it with them, then they get even more angry. They just don't want, because it's all the arguments they got, and once I take that away
Yeah.
from them, then they become like really angry. Especially since moose hunting is basically all they do. So you're familiar with the stereotype of the horse girls, like girls who are
No.
obsessed with horses. They own their own horse and they ride around as hobby. You're familiar with this concept? You're not.
No, no, because yeah, the horse
Okay.
riding is not a quite big issue here because
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think it's a Western sport. Yeah, so yeah,
No, not as a sport, but like howing.
like
There.
hobbies.
Yeah, it's hobby.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's a lot of like they're called horse girls, and they basically go to a farm, ask if they can have a horse there. Then they buy a horse. The horse is there. They take care of the horse at this farm, and then they ride around with this horse. It's a very bizarre tradition. Um,
One
uh,
more tradition.
yeah, it's more like a Western type of tradition more than anything else. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's strange, but um, I don't know, it's almost religious for them as well, and it's the same thing with the moose hunters. It's almost bizarre how like they're into this as like a uh, as an extension of themselves. Being a hunter here is it's like a huge part of your personality.
No, I mean, so you mean that when you become a hunter, so you tend to be seems like more attractive than before
To some people, I'd say.
to some
Uh,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
some
yeah.
people,
Let's
I'd say.
say.
You become like part of a community of people who's like this is like the most normal thing in the world type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's
Uh,
fascinating. I know.
you feel cool about that then when you like supported by the community, the society support you to
Yeah,
hunt more.
well, people are brought up in
Yeah.
that kind of culture. They've been brought with on hunting since the children. I was brought along on hunting when I was a child. That type of thing. It's it's just so bizarrely
Hmm.
normal. So especially when I try to bring up to my family that are coming with fallacies, it's it has become like a huge of attention. So I try not to bring it up. Uh,
Oh,
sometimes my
it's
father does bring it up though, but I'm just trying to
but
avoid
yeah.
argue this with my family as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah.
So yeah, you might have your cultural issues when it comes to veganism and such. Though I have separate issues when it comes to cultural reasons. Uh,
Mhm.
it's basically two sides of the same coin, essentially.
Yeah, I think we have some type of same issue here, but the other issue is just like the cultural differences, the background, the hunting. Yeah, some more type of that.
Yeah. Um, let me see. Um, I kind of lost a little bit of track here.
No, no problem. It's just flow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
understand.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Do you have any special topics that you want to go over?
Um, Not really special topic, but I could say just like my own experience into veganism.
Yeah, true. Just go on.
So when it's come to like I understand when it comes to veganism, it's just like people get confused around the perception to become perfect, to not including all the all the animal products. So people tend to will ask about what about your drink that have bacteria in it? What about your vegetable that have heartburns in the and kill some of the crops or some of the things, and people get confused when you tell them that the bee industry or the
Oh yeah, the bee
honey
industry.
is not vegan. Yeah, the bee industry. So yeah, I mean, it is. You have to. I mean, re-explain to the exploitation, and when you give the video about the bee industry from the overseas or UK, US. So when you talk about that in Indonesia, they will tend to like it is not in our country, so it will be different. They
Yeah, yeah,
might
sure.
think it will be better. Yeah, it will be better here, but it is not. I mean, like it is.
Yeah,
So when we don't have our local bee industry like documentary or stuff, they will like think, oh, it's not here.
oh yeah, got
So
you.
it make the yeah, so it make the vegan origin become same so far away from the local perspective.
That's
It
something
is for
very
me.
interesting that you bring up here because a lot of people here tend to care a lot about the killing of dogs and cats in China and Korea.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's very weird because um, the cognitive dissonance is huge. That's like, oh well, so poor dogs and cats, and we're doing the same thing to pigs, chickens, cows, goats, and sheep here. What is? It's just really
Yeah,
weird. Uh,
it's weird because yeah, they see it as a food, and one is a company and pet, and yeah, so they will get shocked when we hit the dog.
Yeah, but it is more
But
like when
yeah,
it's far away. So when COVID hit, then people started to put all the blame on the Chinese. Oh, well, it's because the Chinese are exploiting bats, and it's like it could just as well have happened here. Oh, sure, we don't exploit bats here, though. It could have happened somewhere else. We had like two E. coli situations the last 20 years. It could just as well
I
have
mean,
been like a very terrible virus. But it's just that China has the biggest population, and thus they have the biggest animal farming. That is the truth of the matter.
it is. That's true. That's true. I think people tend to blame when it comes to COVID to the Chinese, but yeah, I think they don't see is when you exploit the other animals that over years and years. And I think there are just like issue about the mink industry in Denmark, if I'm not mistaken.
You're talking about mink industry?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, in
mink
Denmark, yeah,
industry.
exactly. Yeah, they
Yeah,
killed off
yeah,
all the
yeah,
mink.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I heard that the virus, the mutation of the virus became
Yeah,
just know, yeah, yeah. It
exactly.
will.
Yeah,
I mean the the COVID thing will always start it when when we exploit animals. We just don't know where it will begin.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very very difficult because animals are being victims. Though in with a case of mink, it might have ended the mink industry in Denmark. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's good if that have happened. It's very bad if they continue afterwards. However, Norwegian mink farms has also gotten a time on them when they have to stop.
To stop the
So
mink
yeah, they're still
industry.
allowed to continue a few more years, but they have such and such an amount of time to like redo their industry to something else.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So a lot of
So
people
it
got like
is like.
undercover and such, and because there isn't this huge popular demand, therefore it was easier for the politics to just say, okay, we will outlaw this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a quite big issue there because
yeah.
mm.
So yeah, it has been a huge issue for a long time, and fewer people are holding mink. I was confronting a few mink farmers back in the day, and I say, please, for your own sake, start doing something else now while you still have the time. And they came back to me and said, no, 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 it will never happen. Like more and more people are understanding us, and it will happen. And I go like, no, no, more and more people are going against you. So please, for your own sake, start doing something else now while you have the chance. And all of a sudden, the politics came out and said, you aren't allowed to continue expanding your mink farms. You have, I think it was like a 5-year period or some, or 7 years period or something like that. And said, in this time, you have to stop with mink farming. And then I went into this page and I said, what did I just tell you? I told you so many times it will be outlawed soon, and you didn't listen. And then I was kicked out from the page.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was a
I
farmer's page. So
mean, you will get like this guy just threw, so we just kick them out. I
yeah,
kick
yeah.
him
Oh, he
out.
had a point. That is not good for us. It will make us look bad. So we now have to toss him out.
Yeah,
But
toss them out.
after them, they made it illegal for well, not illegal, but they outlawed vegans for being in the group. So well, they didn't actually say so, but they say if you are against meat and plant production as human food, you're not allowed to be in this group. So essentially, they just did this to say vegans aren't allowed to be in this group.
It's a way to protect them
Yeah,
from
sort of.
our urge.
Yeah,
Yeah, sort of.
yeah. Oh, I think we've kind of gotten through most amount of the topics, unless there's something more you want to talk about.
I think that's just it.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. Really nice talking
Yeah,
to you.
it's good. Yeah, it's nice to.
Yeah. Is there? Do you have like any page or a channel or something that I should link people to, or?
Mm, I think just no for now, but just for maybe for your maybe if you have some Indonesian followers or something else, you can just like search for 10 weeks to vegan from the vegan outreach
Yeah,
Indonesian.
just link me any
Yeah,
links to
just
any
leaning. Yeah.
Indonesian
Sure.
outreach, and I can and
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
in the description.
Oh, I'll
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So yeah, and maybe I'll bring you on another day if you have another topic you want to go through or something. That's I forget
Yeah,
to tell
that's good.
forgot to tell Sorab that the other day, but that's yeah,
Yeah,
it is
that's
fine.
cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you.
Okay, see you.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you. See you.
Thank you.